Well, hello and welcome to everyone. Wishing you all a happy Diwali. And clearly, I haven't gotten the memo. मैं मस्त ऐसा इंडिया जैसी पहन के आया thinking I'm dressed for the occasion, but clearly
No, you
I
got the
proved
memo.
wrong.
You got the memo. You ignored it. There's a
हाँ,
difference.
See, ignore makes it sound as if I knew of it. In my defense, I did know of it. नहीं तो मेरे को भी कुर्ता पहनने में कोई ऐसा ही नहीं है. I would have loved to have flaunted my Indian ethnic wear as well. But of course, it's great to see both all decked up for the India Netherlands game. I guess this is the most decked up preview panel we've had so far in the World Cup. What better occasion than the India Netherlands game? Of course, finally a game where two equals collide. Nikhil bhai, of course, right? इससे
You
अच्छा
know,
मैच हो सकता है.
I was actually thinking of wearing an orange kurta, but then I thought, ki we already will have one person who will be supporting Netherlands, so I'll go with a neutral shade.
Fair enough. All right, Nikhil bhai, what about you?
it should be a good game, hopefully. Again, right venue as well. A good day to celebrate festivities everywhere. Netherlands will want to make sure that they tell everyone that don't just go by the last few games. We've shown enough glimpses that why we are here and why we deserve to play a lot more ODIs. It was good to hear their coach also say that a lot of teams have inquired about their calendar, which is a good thing. That it means that there might be some series which might be arranged, which is good to hear. And the more the merrier.
100%, 100%. That was like music to my ears. I genuinely hope that happens to be the case. But again, Gurkira, let's start with today's game. What are you looking forward to from an Indian team POV? Because we've gotten almost all of our bases covered. Like, how are you looking at this game? Is this one of those games where you want to rest your key players? Or just like Dravid said, 6 din ka rest mil gaya. We're not resting anyone. We'll play this like any other World Cup fixture.
It's something, when we was talking about in the last game, I said I'd be okay with both things because there's a 6 day rest, so you cannot really say that there hasn't been enough rest, but at the same time you want to avoid injuries. So had they rested Bumrah, I would have been okay with it. They're playing him, I understand it, so it's okay. I mean, because sometimes you don't want the momentum to break, but one thing that India would really want is Gill to get big runs, because that is something that hasn't happened, and maybe KL Rahul to get one good 50 at least going into the semis, because he's also not had a lot of time to bat. And against South Africa was a difficult pitch, couldn't get going. Against England played a good knock, but got out at the wrong time. So yeah, and against Sri Lanka as well, you couldn't really blame him because he was trying to go big. So what India would like is that if India are batting first, KL can provide a good finish. So that's pretty much about it.
All right, Nikhil bhai, what about you from an Indian POV? Any changes that you're looking at like that could be possible today?
I feel Prasid might get a game, and Bumrah may be rested, or I don't think Siraj को rest देंगे, but Siraj को भी अगर आप rest दोगे तो not be a bad ploy. I think Shami is rested enough, तो वहाँ पे I don't see a scope there, and India have won the toss, which is good, and they've opted to bat, which is even better.
Fair enough. I mean, the scores here in the 4 games so far have been very interesting. I mean, the first inning scores in particular 364, 401, 156, and 172. So, like, it's sort of all or nothing. That's been the case pretty much in Bangalore. Good Kirat, at least based on what Aaron Finch and Sanjay Manjrekar had to say in the middle, the surface seems rock hard. It seems to be an absolute belter of a wicket. Do you expect new Netherlands bowlers and their hardlines to sort of come into the fray today? Because that's been the natural end, something we have discussed time and again during Netherlands games before.
This is for me, right?
Yep. You can start
Yeah.
that.
See, I think if the pitch is true, then it may not cause as much trouble, because India have not had troubles facing pace. It's only when the pitch is slightly up and down where the surprise element of how much will a ball bounce actually makes it difficult to attempt cross batted strokes, because sometimes from the same length the ball could stay slightly lower and could just stick on, and sometimes from the same length it can rise. If it's true in terms of pace and bounce, then I don't think it will be a problem for Indian batters.
All right, and Nikhil bhai, speaking of Indian batters, we've of course got one of them, playing a home game technically today, KL Rahul, who was also your player to watch out for during the mega preview. How happy have you been with his return so far in the World Cup? Because if we compare it with the last World Cup, an average of 45, a strike rate of 78, not the worst numbers, but this time around, really, he's come good for them at that crucial number five position. Something we'd spoken about even during the mega preview, that KL Rahul having a good World Cup will be very key to India's chances. Happy with his performances so far?
Yeah, pretty much. There might be room for few more scores there, but I see under pressure he's come good, and that's what you want. It's not that okay when everybody's scoring he's not able to score, but that's okay. Sometimes uh, that first game versus Australia, and then even in the consequent games, you've seen him look very assured, look very calm, look very composed. So I think that's what you're looking out for. And come the knockouts, I'm sure he'll be again crucial for India, batting at a very crucial spot. And now that you also have Shreyas scoring runs, it eases even more pressure if ever there was any on him. So, BK, I really have to come good. So I think in terms of my expectations, 100% very, very good in that sense. Yeah. थोड़े runs और होते तो अच्छा होता, but no complaints from my end.
Alright, and guys, आज का डेट 12th November ही है ना, 15th November तो नहीं है ना? Am I getting things wrong here? Because come on guys, India Netherlands is the most important fixture of the World Cup. इतना क्या जल्दबाजी है? इंडिया न्यूजीलैंड होगा भाई, जब होगा हम बात करेंगे, खोल के बात करेंगे, टेंशन मत लो. मुंबई सर्फेस कैसा है, न्यूजीलैंड कैसा होगा, हिंदी निकल्स का फॉर्म कैसा है, ट्रेंट बोल्ट का फॉर्म कैसा है. वी कैन सी ऑल योर क्वेश्चंस. ऑफ कोर्स वी वोंट बी टेकिंग देम राइट नाउ बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली भाई पहले आज के मैच के बारे में बात करते हैं. Lots more to talk about there, of course. Let's take a few numbers because Indian batting has been on top of the form. Of course, Sante bhai, sorry. Sure, more than happy to. पहले थोड़ा सर्दी ठीक हो जाए बस, उसके बाद जो चाहिए पहन लूंगा, टेंशन नहीं है. But yeah, speaking of Indian batters and Indian batting in general, they've really been in top form this time around, starting with the skipper up top. If we look at his numbers in Chinnaswamy, that also bodes well for him. We know that historic 209 that he scored, his first double century in the ODI format. Even apart from that, 437 runs, an average of 109, and a strike rate of 112. Again, Nikhil bhai, lots to look forward to given how the surface is expected to play today.
Yeah, definitely. And, I also see RS is there with the mandatory Virat Kohli numbers at the venue stat, which is surprising. 6 games, average of 25, but again, cannot reach too much into it. As he says, time to improve those numbers. And I mean, he's played some cricket at this venue, so he should be able to find a way कि इधर क्या होना चाहिए, थोड़ा तो आइडिया होना चाहिए उसको यहाँ पे कैसे खेलते हैं. So hopefully that serves him well. And with Rohit, yeah, as you rightly said, again, I might be jumping the gun there, but I'm very keen to see how Rohit plans with his Aryan, Ackerman, and all of them. Because, usually teams have bowled a lot of
Hello.
pace up top, but यहाँ पे you'll see spin coming in very, very early. So that could really be very handy to see. Because today is also the day where Vandermeer should bowl a lot. There is just one left-hander there. तो पिछले गेम में नहीं bowling की क्योंकि स्टोक्स भाई साहब बैटिंग कर रहे थे. इस गेम में he should bat. So hopefully no surprise phase dismissals today, and all just good boundaries.
Interesting. Iris spoke about Virat Kohli's numbers or the lack of it in Chinnaswamy when it comes to the ODI format. But Gurkirat, his performance so far in the World Cup, this has been his best numbers, best haul in World Cups ever, in a single World Cup edition ever. He's been in top-notch form, right? Like, I guess it's too much to sort of, nitpick in terms of looking at his numbers in Chinnaswamy, right? Or are you one of those who believes that those numbers are they hold some meaning to it?
See, when you've had a career like Virat Kohli's, at a lot of venues you will have great numbers. And Chinnaswamy, he's played well. Uh, he's had. I think it's only in tests where he hasn't had a great run in Chinnaswamy. In ODIs he's been decent. In T20s, T20Is he's been decent. And the pitch is usually such that you feel he will enjoy batting on. So yeah, if he could better those numbers, nothing like it. It could be a very happy Diwali to all the people and all the Indian fans out there, because last year, just a day before Diwali, he did provide with a lot of fireworks. So yeah, won't be a bad time to do it once again.
Definitely won't be a bad time to do that, and it won't be a bad time right now for us to quickly move on to the first segment, which of course is key battles. Gurkiran, let's start with you. It's India Netherlands. The surface is expected to really be an absolute, batter friendly pitch, so to say. What are you expecting in terms of key battles today?
See, one is which Nikhil mentioned about Van der Merwe coming in, because India will have six left-handers to bowl at. So Van der Merwe versus the middle order could be a good battle, but a lot is going to depend upon how well does Rohit take off. Because if Rohit does what he's been doing so far well, then you could expect Van der Merwe to even come in far more earlier into the attack. And by that time, what could happen is that Rohit has given enough cushion to the middle order to just play him around. So that Van der Merwe versus middle order is one battle. And also the other battle would be how Van Beek and Van Meekeren find a way to dismiss Rohit. Because if they don't, then this could be a long day for Netherlands.
Interesting, Nikhil bhai. What about you? Those were a couple of interesting battles that Gurkiran did mention, but it would be fair to assume that Rohit will have a field day out there in the power play.
Yeah, you suppose so कि वैसा होना चाहिए. There are, I mean, he's been playing well. He's been picking his options and bowlers well. So no reason for him to not come good there. As I said, very much looking forward to how the spinners bowl to him early on, because I don't think Netherlands will provide him enough pace to work with. So that is something which will make it even more interesting. कि the entire top three, we could potentially see a lot of spin being bowled in the first 10, which I don't think we've seen enough. We saw that in the South Africa Netherlands game. But again, very different conditions, those. And in whatever conditions we've seen here in Bangalore, there has been some grip, some bite, at least while bowling first. And that could potentially just test the batters early. You'd not want to just assume that this is a 350 deck and then you go after it. So might be a case of just take your time. May not be more than like 5 6 hours, but take your time, see how it's going. Because then, if it's a good batting deck, then you're through. But if it is not, then all of them, Paul Van Meeken will bowl straight with uneven bounce. Baz Delete has got wickets, but he's gone for plenty of runs as well. So I think all of those contests will come into play if there is some help or some grip. Otherwise, you expect India to be professional and clinical in terms of doing the percentages right.
Interesting. Historically, Chinnaswamy has been known to be, a venue that favors six hitters. And today will be no different because the side boundaries today are 64 meters. The straight boundaries are 70 odd meters, 73 to be precise. Gurkirat, if you look at Rohit Sharma's numbers in terms of six hitting, he scored 58 sixes and he's equaled AB de Villiers' record for the most sixes hit in a calendar year. Do you expect him to go one up today and become the highest six hitter in a calendar year ever?
Should become
I
that
think most of
eventually. Should become that eventually, if not today, uh, because he's been in very good form and he's a very effortless six hitter. I mean, so many times when he's hitting those sixes, you feel that there's not much effort being put into it, and you could say it is the gift of timing. You could say maybe it is the hard work to execute those shots, or maybe it's just years and years of practice in terms of picking up the lens and perfecting a few shots. So it should happen. If not today, then maybe on the 15th, and hopefully, if not that day, on the 19th.
Well, people would be hoping that 15th and 19th are the days when he sort of goes ballistic, 100% sure. But guys, please make sure you're also hitting the like button right now if you haven't already. It's Diwali, of course. It's the day of festivities. Make sure you also pass some of that love to us as well. Please make sure you've hit the like button if you haven't already. Make sure you've subscribed to us if you haven't already. YouTube algorithm will help us a lot, when they see more likes. So please do that. Let's take a few comments before we move on, to the next segment. Chinmay Athreya, let's start with him. He asks Nikhil Bhai, do you think Surya will come off today?
Well, today is not the day that you'll hope Surya gets to bat. If you are thinking purely from a lens of a very good batting day, so he will get to bat, but you'll hope it is not more than 5 6 overs towards the end. So again, it completely depends on how you are visualizing the game. So because you'd want the top five to really just bat. and bat as much as they can and see if they are able to get a lot of runs. So then, of course, he can come off because we've seen Netherlands concede a lot of runs in the last few overs. So it will not be a bad punt, but from an Indian POV, you would hope that that isn't the case, and not wanting to jump the gun, but a top order batter batting through could be really fun.
Fair enough. Let's take Ankar's question, Gurkirat. He says, Happy Diwali. Of course, Happy Diwali, Ankar. How do you see an easy game just before an all-important knockout match? We did sort of allude to it briefly in the beginning. But again, speaking of, this potentially being a banana skin game and all of that, like, do you think it's hard mentally to be sort of, switched on, for such a game when you know that you've already made it through to the next round and all of that?
See, it's something only the players in the middle can answer. But with India, that has been the pattern of scheduling. Last World T20 also, India's last game was Zimbabwe in the group stages. 2021, I think it was Namibia. 2019 World Cup, the last game was Sri Lanka. Before that, I think it was Bangladesh. 2015, I remember India had two tough games up top, Pakistan and South Africa, and then India had UAE, West Indies, Ireland, and Zimbabwe. So I don't know. I mean, it's maybe in one way it could be an advantage that if you are sort of stuck and not sure of qualification, so you have that advantage. You know by what margin you have to win that last game. Now, if you have already qualified, there is an advantage that if you want to try out players, you can do that. If you want to continue with the same team and see, if there are any chinks in the armor that can be addressed, you can do that. So it all depends upon how you view it, and whether it is difficult to be switched on or not. It's something only those individuals can answer, because sometimes if you are in a great touch and you feel everything's going well, you can. But say for someone like Shubman Gill, he cannot afford to be switched off today. So it's like that. It is a very individual thing, very difficult to say with confidence that yeah, it isn't correct or it is the best way possible. Can't really.
Yeah, that's a very interesting name that you mentioned there, Shubman Gill. Nikhil Bhai, 219 runs in 6 innings. Not the worst of World Cups, but definitely a lot more was expected off of him. How much of that, dengue and all of that coming out of it played a part, and do you expect him to come good today?
Then he'll want to. I'm not sure about how much the dengue bit played a part because even in the game that he's played, he got a few nice cover drives, but those dismissals are where you feel okay that you could see those coming. So I think it's been a bit of that and a bit of getting start, but not quite getting the big ones. So I think he'll be happy with the knock that he had against Sri Lanka because that will give him a lot of confidence. Yes, being able to get those runs in. And it was the manner in which he started. He was happy to take his time. Virat was going great guns. And then once Gill felt that, okay, yes, I am in now, that's when he started to take those risks when came down the wicket to hit those sixes. Now, if I'm not on the last time these two guys played here, they scored a century, Virat and Gill, in the IPL. So I don't know, maybe good memories of that game for him to really just rely on. And sometimes you just need some venues to give you good vibes. Okay? Many players talk about this that you just land at an airport and you feel here I'm going to score runs. It just occurs to you and things just flow for you. But it won't be easy. It won't be easy versus Zulu Van as well, who may not you expect him to take 3-4 wickets, but he'll create chances because he's very smart. And what I want Gill to be very, very sure of is the first over. He's gotten out to spin in the very first over very often. And that is something that you don't want him to repeat because scores and all you can take care of. But this is a controllable. Scores and all you can't always control कि कितना बनाएगा. But if the same things keep happening again and again, that is something that you want to catch hold of very early.
इंटरेस्टिंग यू मेंशन्ड अबाउट सम आईपीएल गेम May 21st को ऐसा कुछ आईपीएल गेम हुआ था क्या जहां पे दोनों ने सेंचुरी मारी मेरे को याद ही नहीं है भाई क्या
he doesn't even remember the date. You remembered it. I was there at the venue.
मतलब हाँ नहीं ऐसा हम देखे भाई हम सच्चे इंडियन टीम के फैन हैं आप जैसे नहीं जो खामखा ऐसे आईपीएल की बातें सब लाते हो यार ये
और याद हो जाती था सच्ची इंडियन टीम के फैन होते तो कि 1 और 3 उस दिन सेंचुरी मारे
गलत गलत बात है, आईपीएल की बात है, ऐसा सब मतलब भाई, इंडिया है, वर्ल्ड कप है, ऐसा आईपीएल की बातें
जो
क्यों?
बंदा 45 गेम्स में 450 बार आईपीएल की बात कर चुका है, वो 45 गेम में उसको इतनी शर्म भी है कि वो बोल रहा है कि आईपीएल की बातें मत ला, बताओ।
ठीक है, आईपीएल एंड इंडिया साइड ऑफ कोर्स काफी सारा इंडिया के बारे में बात कर लिया हमने. लेट्स टॉक अ बिट अबाउट नेदरलैंड्स एंड द बैटिंग इन पर्टिकुलर. द लास्ट टू गेम्स, लॉर्ड ऑफ रनआउट्स, pathetic running. We saw Wesley Baresi, he had a decent start in the last game, 30 or 37 if I'm not wrong, got run out there. Then in the game before that against Afghanistan, Max stood out, got a decent start, ran himself out. We saw 4 runouts happen in that game. Gurkirat, like, how do you correct this? Because running in between the wickets is one of those 101s that you expect players know, right, at this level.
I think the only way now to look at avoiding the runouts is uh, tell players that they have to be better judges of what is the risk reward situation in trying to go for that run. you know Sometimes I can understand that if you are batting with a tail ender and you know that there isn't, like, if the batter gets to play 4 or 5 deliveries, he could get out in that over and you will lose out on runs. Or sometimes you just want to maximize a potential matchup, but see, at the end of the day, so many times you are just risking your wicket for that one extra run. So you might as well try and attempt a slog of a negative matchup, because if it works out, you still get a 4 or a 6 than just that one extra run. And in that Afghanistan game, you look at the number of runouts that happened, and by the margin that they happened, it was just, those were never a run to begin with. You look at uh, Colin Ackerman's run out, or you look at Engelbrecht's run out, even with that run out of Max Stroud. Yes, it was a very good throw, but despite the dive, he was short. Now, I am a firm believer that if despite the dive, a player is short, it was a risky run to begin with. So sometimes you can take that chance, but you have to be cognizant of the fact that is that chance worth it at that point of time. Sometimes it isn't. So if it happens in the last 10, where you're trying to be cheeky and get that extra run, it is understandable. But so many times, those runouts are just happening because of poor risk assessment. I just feel.
Interesting. And speaking of Netherlands batters, sorry, and of course taking that conversation, right, Nikhil bhai, do you think the surface that is on offer today in Bangalore, someone like a Vikramjit Singh could have been a value add, because he is someone who likes to play on the up. He's comfortable against lengths. We know that the bounce is going to be fairly true here. Or do you think that bit of grip, that bit of turn that you mentioned before that itself would have been good enough to get him out?
They say that Wesley hasn't done anything bad to go back. So I think you just want to continue on that run, and you would not want to get a player in just because this win is good for him to get some runs. So they're looking for a win. This game is crucial for them to win and try and get in, seek those 2 points so that they can be in a better position for the Champions Trophy. So uh, not a time to take that risk. And Wesley did well in the previous game as well. As Pari said, maybe it was a ploy that they want to put pressure on the field, but at this point of time, that judgment hasn't been that great or measured where they're eventually putting a lot of pressure on themselves with that tricky run. So maybe it's a learning for them to execute in the next one, because I remember in the qualifiers they had a talk about using the big dimensions of the ground to run a lot of twos. But then that may not always be true on every on every, I don't know, venue, so to speak. So that's why they'll have to take a call there. But I think today is a good day for all of them to get a good time in with the bat. If the conditions are good to bat, get in. It is a very good bowling attack. Get some runs. It will give you a lot of confidence going forward.
Also on that Vikramjit bit, even if the venue is something where he'll enjoy, both Bumrah and Siraj have bowled well to left-handers, and he isn't a great player of spin. So it's not that him coming in and him staying will sort of neutralize Jadeja in any regard. So, and Brazy, if anything, has started off well. He was batting really well in that Bangladesh game. I felt last game he just in the first power play he just tried to save his wicket and it was then trying to switch gears. So it is fine. Vikramjit has a lot of time and age on his hands. hopefully you'd say that in the years to come he's improved on his game against spin. Against pace, has a lot of shots, maintains his shape, is able to play square of the wicket, but against spin a lot of work is needed.
फेयर इनफ शौनक भाई लेंगे आपका क्वेश्चन लेंगे टेंशन मत लो योर नेम ऑफ कोर्स यू आर ए नेम से ऑफ अ प्रोड्यूसर साहब तो 100% आपका क्वेश्चन तो पहले ले लेंगे आप क्यों अरे फिर से स्पैम करो दिखा दिया आपका क्वेश्चन निखिल भाई यू कैन आंसर दिस इन एवरी इंडियन गेम टिल नाउ आइदर रोहित और कोहली हैव गॉटन 85 plus if both don't fire in the semis it'll be will we see another 2019 repeat something Gurkirat had mentioned before the two instances in the last 5 years where both Rohit and Kohli didn't fire. It was the 2017 Champions Trophy finals. It was the 2019 semi-finals, World Cup semi-finals. Both games that Indian fans want to forget. Nikhil bhai, what do you think of this dependency on Rohit and Kohli when it comes to India's batting?
See, every team depends on them. Every team depends on their top three. If Warner and Mars don't
Head.
score, Mars just going, but people have scored big. If they don't score, Australia will also struggle. If Quinton de Kock and RBD don't score, South Africa fans will also be troubled. If Rachin Ravindran, Daryl Mitchell doesn't score, every team will be under pressure if the top three doesn't perform. So that there is no solution to that in terms of you cannot not depend on the top three. But what India is in a better position right now is they have a 4-5-6 which is scoring runs, and they've scored runs under pressure and at crucial times. So you'll want to trust them to be able to adapt. So far they have done that. Hopefully they'll be able to do it again, and hopefully one of them will come good. Even if they don't, we really cannot hold them hostage for that fact that you again did not, because it is not in their hands. उनके हाथ में होता तो भाई हर गेम में 100 मारते थे, but it's not that. सामने वाला भी खेलने आया, तो you have to be very aware of the fact that it may happen, it may not happen. At this point of time, it feels more likely that it should, and that's what we'll hope for. नहीं हुआ तो नहीं हुआ, you can't do much about it.
Yeah, I just want to share an idea that Nikhil shared once on our WhatsApp group when we were discussing about a potential situation where the ball's really swinging in the first 10 and India have lost one wicket early. So Nikhil had this idea that maybe Jadeja could be promoted because he's a left-hander and he's done very well in swinging conditions in test matches. So if it is like that, may not be the worst option to promote him and ask him to just bat like he bats with the against the second new ball in test matches. And see, other thing is, you'd still hope that even if that happens, you know your your KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer and others have scored decent enough runs to arrest the collapse at that point of time. And sometimes you could just get the kind of deliveries like Rohit got versus Sri Lanka, which was bowled by Madhushanka, or you could just the way the ball tracking has been working in this World Cup, you could get a decision like that, and no one can control it. So it can happen. No one says that it cannot happen, but yeah, if that happens and you start coming up with stuff like, oh, these players are chokers, uh, they cannot perform under pressure, etc., etc. I think that's very unfair, because if you cannot perform under pressure, you cannot have a career in top flight cricket for 15 years. I don't think that's possible.
Fair enough. Now let's quickly move on to the second and the last segment, of course, which is X Factor. Gurkirat, we've taken plenty of names so far. We know this is a true batting surface. The boundaries are also short today. Who are your X Factor players today?
Yeah, if India were bowling first, would have gone for Mohammad Siraj. Still can go for him, but I just have a feeling that if India bat big, then India have a opportunity to sort of bat Netherlands out of the game. So Mohammad Siraj being that X factor may not be as big of a factor. So from the batting front, you'll have to say, yeah, I'd want to go for Shubman Gill. Hopefully, he gets runs today and is able to set up. Because if he's, like Nikhil mentioned, if he's able to, play out that first over of Vander Merwe, he also has the game just like Shreyas to attack left arm spin and can do well. So there is that. For Netherlands, I don't know. There is Vander Merwe, obviously, but going for, because I think Nikhil will go for him, so I'll pick another name. I'll go for Van Meekeren.
Go Vindas. I'm not going for it.
ठीक है फिर Vander Merwe. But
All
Van
right,
Meekeren
Vander
also I'm
Merwe.
looking.
Yeah, and Shubman Gill says good Kirat. Nikhil bhai, what about you? X Factor players for the day.
Uh, Not wanting to sound greedy is that disrespecting. Hopefully, a double century from the opener from Mumbai. When you should suit him well. तो प्लीज जल्दी आउट होगा तो ट्रोल मत करना. मैं गेस ही कर रहा हूँ और मार दिया तो मैं क्लिप शेयर करूंगा. सॉरी. So that is taken care of. And from Netherlands, I'll go with Basili. His father was the player of the match, I think, in 2003 when these two sides met. Won't be a bad day to take three at the end. At the end, last over में ले लो जैसे last time लिया था. And then with the bat, he can have. He hasn't had a good time, but this venue is such, conditions should be such कि भाई कुलदीप जडेजा को शांति से खेलो, get a good score.
Interesting. Man, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, from the Indian side, I'll just stick to Shreyas Iyer. I just want him to score runs. I'm just happy to see him in decent form, if not good form. So I just want him to continue that, and I want him to be in good stead when he, sort of plays the game in Mumbai 3 days from now. From Netherlands, I'm hoping Logan van Beek has a fantastic new ball spell. 4 wickets in the first 10 overs. That's my prediction. So hoping that he's the X Factor player for the day. Genuinely like what I've seen of him. A proper team player. Right from the qualifiers, whatever, like off the field, more than on the field, more than that, like whatever I've seen off the field, how he gels with the team, how he seemed like a very chilled out personality. So I really hope, good things happen to him. And yeah, I'm hoping for a 4-4 in the power play from him. But yeah, quickly, guys, prediction time. Nikhil bhai, let's start with you. Faraz Sheikh has already asked us, how much do you think India is ending up with in the first innings?
भाई मैं तो डबल सेंचुरी बोल के बैठा हूँ. So just have to take care of that. I hope the surface is a good one, so we can see 408.
408 says Nikhil bhai. Good Kirat, what about you?
Tricky है sir.
370. See, these games are tricky. You want to hope that the team gets runs. It's a good batting surface and everything, but sometimes what can happen is that if the batters are too aggressive, it can just if it is not their day, it can so happen that the first or the second rest could you know end up in a wicket, and then
That's
the
happening
prediction
today, bhai. That's happening today.
falls flat by 50, 70, 80 runs. So yeah, still going for 360, 370. Let's hope it is done.
All right. I'm saying Saurav Ganguly. If you guys know, you know. पता है किसी को सौरव गांगुली का कितना है?
भाई बहुत
183
सारे नंबर है.
नहीं एक तो
Exactly.
183 and but in Bangalore he scored his only double
Double century.
century in Test
Yes.
in
double
It
century.
2007.
is
So
it
I
is
think
the
at
same
that point
as
of time he got 238.
yes, correct. If I'm not, is it 238? I thought it was 220 for the same as Dhoni. Fine, 238 भी चलेगा
नहीं
अपने को.
224 तो नहीं है. That is the only game where I think in Test matches India have had 3 left-handers score 100 in an innings, because Yuvraj scored a ton, Saurav scored a ton, and so did Irfan Pathan.
This is the game we did lose, right? Or was it
It was
drawn?
drawn. It was drawn.
Drawn.
It was drawn due to bad light on fifth day, day 5.
Okay, so 239 as it turns out is his highest score, and yeah, 239 is what I'm sticking to. Shaunak bhai, हमारे producer साहब, of course, our resident Saurav Ganguly, aka Dada fan, has already confirmed it. 239 is how much he ended up with. Yeah, I'm happy bhai. Saurav Ganguly is a fair estimate. Bhai, please 239 से एक रन ऊपर मत बनाओ. थोड़ा Netherlands को भी chance दो. अच्छा रहेगा. It'll be great fun to watch if India actually ends up with just 239.
If Netherlands win today, Bangladesh are out of the Champions Trophy.
Exactly. What more do you need?
Somesh
Because
won't be
they
happy.
genuinely don't
Somesh
deserve a
won't be
spot.
happy.
Sumesh
Will-
will-
which
Somesh won't
part?
be happy.
Oh, वैसे
it
I
will
understand.
it will hit his writing productivity.
Exactly. तो
Exactly.
नहीं चाहिए
He
वो.
needs it. He needs it. Of course, for sure. Sanjay meanwhile says he कुछ ज्यादा नहीं हो गया. 4 wickets in first 10 overs. भाई बोला था ना हमारे क्या नाम था उनका हर्षद मेहता साहब ने, रिस्क है तो इश्क है. तो बस हम भी रिस्क ले रहे ताकि थोड़ा बाद में अपने को भी हो. सम रिस्क रिवॉर्ड चाहिए अपने
अरे
को
वो
भी.
इंडिया बैटिंग की इंडिया बॉलिंग के टाइम की बात कर रहे हैं. तुम किधर टेंशन ले रहे हो?
नहीं भाई, नहीं. Let's genuinely hope that doesn't happen. That'll be very, very, very sad अगर सच्ची में वैसा हो गया तो. But yeah, it's time to wrap up the preview right now. And guys, don't forget, we will be back here at the end of the first innings to talk about the first innings, of course, in the mid innings preview. Don't forget, of course. And at the end of the game, we will be back here for the review. Nikhil bhai and Gurkirat are already here in their kurtas. Do tune in for the mid innings review. और कुछ नहीं तो पता चल जाएगा am I in my kurta or not, am I wearing my Indian ethnic wear or not. But there'll 100% be a lot of talking points, including how Logan Fanbeek came up with that brilliant new ball spell where he takes 4 wickets. It's going to be Sharma, it's going to be Gill, it's going to be Kohli, and it's going to be Rahul because Iyer, of course, is my X Factor player. So वो अच्छा खेलेगा. He's the one who lead India to 239. So yeah, that's it from all of us right now in the preview. Nikhil Bhai's sort of nod of disapproval has already shown that he doesn't care one bit. He now wants to focus on the game. So we let you guys go. Have a great first innings. Have a great game. Until then, goodbye from all of us. Thank you.
One day.